it's just a game. We'll play the part, but it won't be the same. They have a habit overcharging, forcing the hand into a plea bargain. Offered up a plea deal, but I didn't do it for real. Turn the world against me, but I just wanna be free. I've got the facts, they've got the lies. Motion denied. They say they've got so much evidence. Trace DNA is taking precedence over unknown blood found at the scene. I think it's time someone just came clean. Offered up a plea deal, but I didn't do it for real. Turn the world against me, but I just wanna be free. I've got the facts, they've got the lies. Motion denied. Been sentenced to death. I'm not a bad guy, not holding my breath. Rather do life than die. Offered up a plea deal, but I didn't do it for real. Turn the world against me, but I just wanna be free. I've got the facts, they've got the lies. Motion the night. Motion the night. Motion the night. Motion the night. Close the night out right, panel at the table, in that half-dead light. Miss Robin in the middle, calling every shot, directing and producing, till the story runs hot. 1-1 from the city, badge heavy on his chest, towing that law like a wicked chain, spitting facts, no rest. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right, tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite. JJ in the corner, state of the deep in his head. Which lies to toss and which ones to keep instead. Dago from the cafe says forget about it, leans back, another night. Crimes after dark, we close the night outright. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel. We watch the threads ignite. You can bury it in paper, you can lock it in a file, but the truth bleeds through, drip by drip, tile by tile. We're dragging it to daylight, name by name, line by line. If you wrote it in the shadows, we'll read it out this time. Yeah. Crimes after dark, we close the night outright. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel. We watch the threads ignite.
All right, everybody, welcome to a Crimes After Dark. Whatever. What the hell is it? It's Crimes After Dark. Welcome to the show, even if my mouth doesn't move as fast as my mind. Look, we are hurtling towards post-conviction relief in Idaho 4. I can feel it on my bones, and this is what it looks like. This is how it starts. For those of you who've been watching Idaho 4, as anybody in true crime does, and we're a true crime show, don't get that twisted. And if you've been following true crime, you know about Idaho 4, but what you didn't expect is what's happening right now. A tidal shift that begins with Broken Plea, a book by Christopher Whitcomb. He was on last night for a monumental 4-hour session with us. Now he's doing the rounds. He was with the custody queens earlier today. He's going on with other people like Birdie Bombshells. He's got shows lined up with other producers past that. We are lining him up, and he's giving a lot of love to the YouTube community. So tonight what we're going to do is I'm going to bring the panel up very, very quickly, and we're going to get into the criticism. Right away, we're going to get into the criticism of Christopher Whitcomb. Why didn't he talk about this? Why didn't he write this in the book? Why didn't he do this? How come he never answered that? How come he dodged this question? We're going to get into that tonight and a lot more. So hold your hats. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to also share with you how it happened that the book got released. Everything about it, I'm going to explain the whirlwind. But let's first get the panel on stage. And by the way, one's running behind. We got Robin, my co-producer. We got Dago from True Crime Cafe. And I'm even bringing my lovely wife on, and I got to get stuff off of her face. We got to get that stuff off of her face. Yeah, can't do that. So we've got and Rhonda's muted, by the way. I don't know if you know that, but you're muted, by the way. So anyways, there's the team. How are you guys doing this evening?
Whoa.
Doing well, thank you.
Yeah, doing well, quite well. Thank you.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to get into the details today. There was a fabulous show last night. It was record numbers for us. I can't believe we had Christopher for essentially 4 hours. I mean, yes, 2 hours of pre-recorded show, but then we got another 2 hours of questions after that. I got 4 hours of questions into that thing. That was amazing.
I think he'd have kept going.
Crazy.
He probably would have kept going if we would have kept going with him. So yeah.
I thought about it, but I kept seeing him looking at his watch. Maybe I'm misreading that though, because he looks at his watch a lot, even when he says he's got stamina and he's going to go all night long. So I don't know. So I wanted to be polite and give him an out, but by the same token, I didn't want to rush it. So I think 4 hours was a pretty good thing. I think we were blessed to have him for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I think everything beyond that, people are getting tired, and it's like we want it fresh and crisp. So.
Well, half my panel was telling me in private chat, I gotta pee, man. Like I gotta pee, but I can't leave the screen. So when did you set, Lee? Did you set the goal wrong? I don't know. What's the goal say? I think we said we were gonna try a goal tonight for 10 chats of $5 or more, and if you do, like, we're gonna read all the chats on and discuss it as a panel. Is that not how the goal looks? I don't even see the goal anymore. What the hell did we do? What the hell did I do? I don't know.
You did it.
I've only done a goal. I only did a goal one time and nobody donated. I was like, I'm done with goal. goals. Like that's just not going to work for me. I'm just not a goal kind of guy.
It ended already. You didn't set the timer on it.
I did. I set it for 1 hour. The timer was for 1 hour.
You must have set it an hour ago then, because you just have to go back in and hit start it again. Same thing.
Well, we could try to do that when I get you guys talking a little bit. I want to tell people, by the way, what happened, because a lot of people are still very confused. I thought the book didn't release until April 28th. What are you doing, DA? Are you breaking the rules by airing an interview that you weren't supposed to air until the book got released? It was a whirlwind. And look, it actually, I believe, started. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about how it works behind the scenes. And I hate to do this because I don't want my panel to be bored while I talk for forever. So feel free to interrupt me, guys, if you want. I know you're like, okay, check it out. So look, I had conversations for like a week with I think what it was probably his agent. I kept referring to him as the publisher, but it was probably his agent. And we were working out the details of having Chris, and eventually he gave me Chris's contact information, and then I began corresponding with Chris directly. And then what happened was we were talking and hyping up the show, and somebody in my chat said, "I just got my book today at Barnes and Noble, and I'm so excited." I then emailed, I think, his agent. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's the agent or publisher. I emailed him and I said, are you aware that they're selling the book in like Scranton, Pennsylvania at Barnes and Noble? And that initiated a whirlwind of calls from Los Angeles and from Chris, where he's at. I won't disclose that. And the point being is that everybody was like, what the hell just happened? The book got released and copies were showing up online. And eventually what happened over a series of the day, while I was doing other things and trying to have fun, I'm getting business calls saying, just go with your interview. We've lost containment on the book. It's already out there. It's being sold off the shelves. And it's not right for you to hold that in the can when the book's already released. That's why we had to move extremely quickly. Other people were moving up their interviews with them, and we had the first interview. And we had the envious position, of being the very first, but we were about to get scooped by everybody who was moving up and jockeying for position. Chris was just fucking upstart guy, and he said, dude, I told you were going to get the first interview. What do you need to do? I said, we got to go live tonight. He's like, I'm on. So he came on and he honored that, which he didn't need to do. And kudos to him for making that happen, so that he came on and put his evening aside on last minute and went live with us, and you guys got a special treat. We were all scrambling. Robin put together an amazing sizzle reel on no notice. She was going to do a much bigger sizzle reel, but we just didn't have time. And so we aired only part of her sizzle reel, but I think a lot of you loved it.
Yeah.
That was amazing, Robin, by the way, to do that in that short amount of time. Yeah, it was amazing.
Thank you. It was like, I thought I had a little more time, and I was trying to really polish it up. And the next thing I know, Lee's calling me going, we have to do it tonight. Is the sizzle ready? And I'm like, no.
Yeah. And Robin's like, why the hell don't you give me more notice? And I'm like, I'm giving you the notice I've got. Like, I got no notice. It's just happening. Just go is what they said. So
yeah, it was crazy.
We went. So here's the thing. I don't know the answer to your guys' questions that said, wait a minute, I bought my book on Amazon. And it says I'm not going to get it to the 28th, but now everybody's got copies in their hands and I'm pissed off. We got no control over that. And I don't know what to say. No. Amazon should shake that book loose early, because it's not right to make everybody who bought it through Amazon wait for their copy, because people are going to start canceling the Amazon pre-order and just go buy it at Barnes & Noble if they can find it. So it would behoove them to get those books shipped out right away. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, so we'll see what happens with Amazon. It's already listed on Amazon as a #1 seller in one of their subcategories, like a true crime category on Amazon is a #1 already based on pre-sales. So huge deal.
I'm not surprised.
We got a lot of. I want to start out with this, guys. I want to get the panel's reaction, because the biggest thing that I saw negative about last night was people were super pissed off about what Chris wouldn't answer and what he didn't talk about and what he didn't put in the book. What are you guys' thoughts about that? About his not covering certain things, dodging questions in general?
Well, honestly, we all have to remember there's a lot of stuff that he has to be careful with for many reasons. So he has ties to the law enforcement community, obviously. He's worked with a lot of people that he really respects. So he's not going to come out and just, crap all over people in his circles. So we have to remember that. Uh,
Yeah.
so I mean that's just one thing.
And
So
yeah, I agree with that.
yeah,
And absolutely. And the fact is I think a lot of people expected this book, based on what we did to hype it up and so on and so forth, to be a quick fix it. It's not. I think a lot of people expected that he was going to come out and say, okay, guys, here's the book. And here's what happened.
right.
Such and such a person did it. Brian Koberger didn't do it. This is what happened, when it happened, the time. That's everybody just figured that's how it was going to read. That's not how this works, you guys. It's not. The man,
No.
he's affiliated with the FBI still. That's number one. And you got to remember, like, they
Hmm.
still have to carry themselves a certain type of way, like any law enforcement official will. So
Right.
that has to be remembered, in my opinion. So
Yeah. Before I get into it, Rhonda, did you have any thoughts about the whole process? I mean, you saw it from a different perspective. You just saw my chaos, but what was your perspective of how that day went down?
How the show went last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of chaos, a lot of questions that people didn't feel like they got answered. But there was so many questions and so much time. I get it.
Yeah, and Rhonda's been modding for us, and one of the things I got to try to get, so it doesn't cause a divorce situation, is when Rhonda gets mad because I don't answer all of that. You're not answering your chat, and I'm like, we have 1,600 people in the chat. When have I ever had 16? Like, I was shitty at it when we had 300 in the chat. How am I going to handle 1,600? And so it was very difficult. I did get some emails from people who were very upset with me. They're like, dude, I'm a member of your show. I asked a question 20 times and you ignored me. I paid money then to have it read and you still ignored me. And I'm like, I do super apologize to anybody. That was chaos. And you have to understand, I also have to show respect to Christopher. So I can't interrupt him mid-sentence when somebody donates money and say, hey, by the way, I got to interrupt you real quick. I couldn't do that. So things got lost in the shuffle. I was exhausted mentally. We had done so much changes in so quick a time to pull it off. I apologize if your questions didn't get answered. I will try to do better. I'm always trying to get better at this, but that was a rough night. So.
I mean, there's no way to be able to explain that, like, it just happened within a matter of an hour to 2 hours, guys, and it was it was handled the best way it could be. Now, I'm grateful that the guy came here and did what he did out of everything. Beyond grateful. He didn't have to do that. We didn't have to have this option. So I'm overly grateful that even happened. So I'll never be able to say enough how appreciative I am to Lee with Devil's Advocates, the channel itself, for having me here, to be here as part of the team with that, and for Chris to be able to come and do this as well. He didn't have to do any of that, but he chose to do that as, the first interview here. So, anybody that's upset beyond that, you got to sit back and think about that, you guys,
Right.
We didn't have to have any of this,
I mean,
so I'm grateful for anything.
He totally rearranged his schedule at the last minute to be on with us last night. Yeah. So I mean, that is and I can tell you, in the publishing world, that is a very rare thing for an author of such a book of his magnitude to do. So yes, as well, am extremely grateful to him for taking time out of his night on such short notice to come on with us last night. I mean, that's just tremendous, and I can't say enough about it.
It was
Agreed.
amazing. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for everybody in the chat saying that it was good. It was just a lot of stress for people. There was a lot of angry people. Didn't get their questions answered, but it was kind of him to do that. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
And he was seeing. I'm going to tell you guys real quick. I'm sorry, Rhonda. This will be Robin. This will be quick. He was reading the chat, so he was watching and seeing those comments, the rude ones as well, and walked right by those. And that shows me the type of person he is. He could have reacted to every one of those and said, "You know what, piss on this bye," but he didn't. That tells you something. So remember that. Hey, 1-1. Sorry, Robin.
Welcome, 1-1. How you doing?
Hey. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, Robin. Lee. Good.
Are you running on fumes, man? Do you ever sleep? Like, I don't even know how you sleep.
Ready to go.
The vampire.
Let's go. Come on. 4-hour live tonight.
Did you, by the way, before we get too far into the weeds, do you have a monologue? I mean, I know you've been busy. Did you bring it?
No,
okay, good. Then that's fine. That's fine.
No monologue.
Yeah, then we won't have to do we don't have to make space for it and get it out of I wanted to know what you thought about last night. Because I'm going to address in a minute. I'm going to address some of the negativity, but what do you think about the show in general?
So I thought it was amazing. I heard as I was coming in, I know that there are some people who did not get their question answered and they were upset. I was hopping in and out of lives all day. I know a bunch of different people, creators that we all love or hate or whatever that have been covering stuff. Some very critical of Chris. What I want to say to that, just like not a whole long-winded thing. What you guys have to understand, Chris, obviously he's former FBI. He has connection to certain people. What, I know not everyone has the book. What this book is, he lays out a bunch of different facts, and it's really for the community and for us to, what do we do with it? Now, what I will say with that in mind, you have to think of like the broader picture as well. So now Chris might not come on here. I'm not trying to speak for him. He has his own views and whatever. Just think about it logically. If Chris, who has 20 plus years in FBI and he was involved in all this crazy stuff, right? If he thought that this case was cut and dry, everything was great, there was nothing to see here, why would he write a book? Why would he make a book? So obviously,
right.
There's meat on the bone. So you don't need. I know everyone wants Chris to come on, to say like, oh, there's corruption and there's this and there's that. He's not going to do that. He's not going to say that. He's going to lay out the documents and different things and leave it for you to figure out. Like, okay, this evidence was renumbered. This was done here. Why does this report say the knife sheath was found here and it was there and all that kind of stuff? We have to do that. We have to bring it to the forefront. He's giving the evidence. He's seen all kinds of unredacted stuff that we have not seen. So there's no reason to attack him like, oh, why, what are why is he telling us about the 4 special wounds on Kaylee and Maddie, but he can't tell us about the stomach contents from Xana? Well, again, he told you himself, there's hundreds and thousands and all kinds of documents and things all over the place. He's not going to burn his bridges with his contacts. I know everyone wants all the info, and I heard, like, as Dago was saying when I came in, this book is not like, follow the yellow brick road. Here are the perpetrators behind the curtain. There they are. Now, do I think that he has stuff in here that will lead us to question and to? That's what it is. He's like, this doesn't make sense. Question it. Now it's for
a guide.
You.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a guide. Now it's for Lee, for Dago, for all of us. Look, this doesn't make sense. The SUV, this black SUV thing. He's telling you there's something here. Look at it. But we have to.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate so many things about what you just said. I want to try to put into my reframing. You have to understand. So first of all, before I get into the explaining how I think it happened or what's happening and what I think is going to happen, I'm going to make a prediction. This is all informing Brian Koberger's post-conviction relief by August. You watch. There's going to be a whirlwind of activity that's going to happen that starts with this. And that's my book.
Yeah.
I'll explain to you. Now, I'll explain to you what I think is happening and why it's happening now. But before I get there, I want to ask, did I not keep my promise? For those of you who said, DA, you better not fuck me. This better be a good book. This better not be a hit piece. I know some of you are upset because he didn't answer the questions you wanted, but hit piece is not what you can even remotely call that book.
No,
No.
no.
Did I not
Mm-mm.
keep my promise? That book is not a hit piece.
Oh yeah.
This book
No.
took some
Not
people
even
out.
remotely. Not
Yeah.
even remotely,
No.
Lee. And if anything, you can't read the book
You're good.
directly, folks. I'm gonna say this. Maybe some people don't like it. That's fine. You gotta read between the lines. That's all I'm gonna tell
Right.
you. As you're
Yes.
reading this book,
Yes.
please. And
yeah.
anybody that's in true crime, you know what I mean, okay? Read between the lines. It will tell you the story, folks.
Yeah.
That's all I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Truly
And he
and
does
honestly.
give some opinion. Sorry, Robin. Go ahead.
Oh no,
Oh, I
I
thought
was just gonna.
Oh.
No, go ahead. I'll once
Okay.
Lee's
I
done
was-
with his thought, then I'll go.
I wanted to say this too. I know that this came out in the documents, I guess, a few months ago. I think Jules and some other people, because I saw in the chat list, some people did cover it. I don't think some people understand the magnitude of. Some do, but I don't think everyone understands the magnitude of what was being shown with the knife sheath. So I wanted to re-emphasize that in Lee's interview,
right.
when they cover that knife sheath. I want you guys to understand that. So let's put into perspective. Let's say the knife sheath had had crazy DNA from Koberger. It had his DNA all over it. It had everything. It was amazing. Huge sample. It definitely was Koberger's DNA. What they did with the chain of custody, it would be thrown out. That would be a strict violation.
Yes.
I work with people, okay, in my department. The Giglio thing is a huge thing. Once you get that put on you, you can never testify again. Nothing you say is credible.
Exactly.
Yeah, think about that. Yeah, think about that for a minute. If the lead detective Payne was involved, and he was, with the evidence handling on that, and they determined that was a falsified evidence tag, Brett Payne doesn't get to testify in the entire fucking case
ever.
And how much do you think that's going to impact the case?
Huge.
And there's several names that would not be allowed to testify.
There's a whole bunch of names, right?
And it's huge. It's huge.
Right.
People, and this is
huge.
This is what I want to say about our look. This is my opinion. Chris is a really, really fucking smart guy, right?
Yep.
He's former FBI agent. Just like One saying, he wants you to read between the lines. Look, I'm going to tell you, Chris's interview isn't for dumb people. Chris's interview is for the thinkers because I've heard here's what the dumb people said. Well, Chris didn't tell us anything we didn't already know. You're a moron. Chris told you a bunch of shit you don't know. You just can't think.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
this show is for people who think. So if you missed it, you need to go find yourself something that's a little bit more entertaining, like SpongeBob SquarePants or something like that, because true crime of this level is not for fucking people like you, because you can't read between the lines. If you read between the lines of what Chris is saying, it is enormous. Now, to be fair, I'm going to make some videos explaining what I believe happened between the lines, not because I think you're dumb, but because I want to help those who are kind of like, man, I think this is what it is, to reinforce for you that, yeah, I think that's what it is as well. So let's share and let's get on the same page.
And
let's go figure this shit out.
Yeah,
and he
exactly.
did just to add one little quick thing. I'm sorry, Dago. And
all right,
he did give his opinion on something, so he's not going down the theory like, oh, I think Jack D did it or this person did it, but certain things. You heard what he said. He said it in the interview with Lee. He said the biggest piece of evidence that he feels was an issue, he would want to reevaluate some of the DNA, but the biggest thing to him that said to him there's a problem here was that knife sheath and the chain of custody. That because without that knife sheath, what do you have without that knife sheath? And to be not that it's hard to figure out. If you rewatch the interview that Lee had, I recommend everyone do that. He doesn't give Lee the answer either. I mean, it's not hard to figure out, but he says, look at the sticker. What do you notice? He wants us to do it. He wants us to say, wow, I see what you're talking about with the signatures. That is a huge fucking problem.
And today, like for instance, my show today, if you guys didn't notice yesterday, he made a big deal about one multiple things, but one thing he went back to more than once. The black SUV, okay, or the dark SUV. The car with the motor exhaust, whatever, coming around the corner at 429. He went back to that thing more than once and said he wanted to talk about that. Okay. There's a reason why he pointed this out more than once. It's already been talked about throughout the community. Yes. Okay. But what he's showing is, as I pointed out today, I did figure out what that vehicle is, in my opinion. It's a Jeep Patriot. Okay. And it has, I even found the exhaust system that was probably put on it. And I played a video. It's the same damn sound. Okay. What he was pointing out, in my opinion, and Kim agreed with me, is that 424. This is what I'm trying to explain. What I believe he wants everybody to see. At 423, 424, this person goes out, gets in that vehicle on Linda Lane, and drives off down Queen Road past the 1122 house. Guess what, guys? I popped the video up. And you guess what you don't see go by at 425? That vehicle. We don't see or hear it. Wait a minute. What the hell? Where's that vehicle at? Where did it go? It just disappeared? Did it fly off like Back to the Future? No, folks. It
parked in front of the house.
What he's pointing out is the fuckery that goes on in this case. The manipulation on video that, this is my opinion. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is one of the things he was pointing out. That truck does not go by at the time that it should on that road. Where does it at then?
Right. It stopped somewhere.
It's just not there. It either stopped or it was cut out of that video. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's already been proven more than once that these videos were manipulated in some aspect. Thank you, Mert.
Yes.
So that, and then it comes back around the corner again. You can hear it clear as day. Now, Jules had 2 videos out, and you can see it, you guys. You can truly see it. You see this car come around the corner, but guess what we don't hear is that vehicle. We don't hear it. Where did that go? It just doesn't disappear once it's there and then it's gone. There's manipulation being done. Again, this is what the stuff that he's pointing out is what and the stupid ass dog barking that we're listening to loud as can be for 15, 20 minutes nonstop. It's loud too. Guess where you don't hear it? You don't hear it on Linda Lane, 30, 50 yards away. How does that make any sense? Because it was manipulated. This is what I believe Chris wants us to see and say, oh, wait a minute, which it had been seen already. Yes. Some people saw it. Some people didn't. So we went back over that today to prove a point. And the dog bark was looping, folks. And then you can catch another dog bark in the background. It was added to the video.
All right, hold on. We just skipped past the other one and went to a different thing. We were asking about Tiengo and Whitman or
Whitman.
Oh, yeah. So I thought I didn't hear which officers had prior Brady Giglio. I thought it was Payne from the early days.
I'm working on that list to prove everybody on it. I can't quite get it yet. They wanted $99, but then somebody said don't buy it. I have it. I'm still trying to open it up. Because it's through a Google.
That should be public knowledge. It
needs to be just as much as the Bill Thompson stuff that I have that I'm going to cover. I have all of Bill Thompson's cases from before, and Bill Thompson's on that list twice. Okay, twice. And I want to know how he was prosecuting this case the way he was, being on the damn list twice.
So I want to say something, and this is not. When I tell you this is not coming from Chris. This is coming from me using my brain and what I understand about things. So, in my opinion, when the prosecutor showed up at 1122 King Road residence and went into the house with MPD, and I think kept the coroner out, Mabbitt, until later.
Agreed.
The prosecutor looked at the crime scene and made a determination. This is what we're going to go with. And at that point, I have reasons to believe he steered where the direction of inquiry would be, the questions that would get asked, the suspects that would be interrogated, what avenues they were going to go down and everything, which is why, in my opinion, Chris can say things that really set people off last night, which is that, Moscow Police Department did a phenomenal job. There was outstanding police work done in this case. Well, the officers were doing what they were told to do. They were following the leads that they were told to follow. Yes. That might have fallen all under the direction of Bill Thompson. It could be why somebody like Steve Gonzalez says, this is all on Bill Thompson. This is all him. He's the one that set the direction of that investigation and basically steered where it was going to go. So Could there
from
be
day one?
Could there be good law enforcement officers who are like, this is bullshit, but I, I'm told that this is where I'm going with this line of inquiry, and I wouldn't be surprised that there's officers where this doesn't sit real well with them, right? And so where do I go with that? If you're Chris and you've got friends in law enforcement and anybody's telling them and I don't know this is the case. I assure you, Chris hasn't told me dick about where he gets his files, where he's been. Like, I don't ask those questions and he doesn't tell me those questions. He's clearly seen unredacted files. He clearly has somebody on the inside. We'll talk about that a little bit more too, about why he's allowed to see that kind of stuff. But the point being is that if he sees that from somebody who says something stinks, Chris, and you need to look at this kind of thing, he's not going to give that source up, and neither is he going to shit all over them if they were, for example, in law enforcement but want to see the right thing done, but they're hampered because they're under a gag order and they're not legally allowed to do, and they'll go to jail. So he's got a fine line to walk. So all of you who are like pissing all in his Wheaties, thinking you're not just being straightforward and tell us, there's reasons probably, if you just logic this shit out, that he can't shit all over law enforcement if part of his sources are law enforcement. I don't know that it is. I'm just guessing, right?
With what you just said, I want you guys to understand something too. Think about one thing. We've been talking about it here, over here at DA's, and other channels have been talking about it. How many police officers from Moscow PD in itself alone did we see leave from the beginning to the end of this case? How many, folks? Including high-ranking officers. Early retirement, transfers, full retirement, and then they're back in office again somewhere else. Think about that for a minute. If I was somebody that worked with if I'm working with 5 people and 4 of those people are doing something that makes me highly uncomfortable, at some point I'm going to go, you know what? This is going to affect me at some point in my career here. And this I can't afford that. This is bad. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. That's what I think we saw. People that have morals, people that have, a backbone per se, I guess you could say, that don't want to be involved in a situation, are seeing this from the side going, this is not good and I'm not comfortable. It's time for me to move on now. We saw that happen with, I don't even know how many guys, but there were so many people that transferred out, retired, took early retirement. The chief himself took retirement and then is now working in Washington. You don't retire and then go back to work a month later in a different place.
No.
Come on.
All right, 2 things real quick.
Way.
I think I missed a question about Kopacka. You took it off the screen because obviously we had by the way, is the goal working? Because I think I set the goal and so this may be towards our goal, is this, but I don't see a status.
Yeah, it's working now.
Yeah, it's working.
So this is what I heard. I'll come back to Kopacka. This is what I heard says. Thank you, by the way, for supporting the channel. Appreciate that so much. It was a great show last night. We don't expect any one person to have all the answers. So most have lied from day one. We're all doing the best that we can. Chris was awesome. Thanks to you. Yes. And look, I want to explain to you another facet real quick before I get back to Kopacka about this stuff. I honestly believe that it's just a matter of time before shit starts getting leaked. Unredacted crime scene photos. I wouldn't be surprised if that shit doesn't get out to some shock jock place like an Enquirer or a TMZ or some shit like that. You're going to see more and more shit come out. And look, here's the thing. When we talk about legalities, here's how it works. Once it's out in the public, it can't be pulled. Once it's out in the public, the gag order no longer applies to it. But whoever leaks it can lose their job or go to jail or anything else. Now, there are a lot of people who have legal access to those files. For example, even in the recent law that was passed or going to go into effect from Olivia Gonzalez, the one that she sponsored, or whatever, put her face to, about you can't see crime scene photos. That law does state that the families can see crime scene photos. If the family can see and get the crime scene photos and get them, and they decide to go to NBC News or Fox News or to an author that writes a book and share those files with them, they can do so because they have legal right to the files and they can do what they want. And once that gets to an author or a news agency, fucking game on. That's out in the public thing. So the right person has to leak it. Somebody who has legal access to the files, and because they have legal access, they can give it to who they want. And once that gets out there, the bets are off. So I won't be surprised if we see a lot of shit shake loose in the next couple months as stuff starts to kind of shake loose, because there's all kinds of people who are getting access to these files now. And those people who have legal access can get them to the other people that can do something with it. So just hold on to your hats. This is just the start, I think.
There's some other stuff that he actually He's been all over the place, all over today. So there are two big things. So one thing, Chris has been asked about what about fights? Does he know anything about fights that happen? And he didn't say who was involved, but he said that he knows of 3 fights that occurred that night. Because some people have been asking, was there like some kind of fight club or a fight thing? So he wouldn't get into any more detail than that, but he said that there were 3 fights. And
pretty interesting.
Another thing, he's being asked very specifically about when Ethan and Xana got back to the house, their timeline. He says that it is that specific bit of info is that no one knows, that it's not known. The prosecution does not know. The defense does not know. It is not. It's all speculation. He does have like hundreds and hundreds of all kinds of different messages and stuff. He said there was a lot going on that night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I want
to address this question right now. Walking Dead 2024. I'm going to address this question right now. Hold on to your hats. This is straight from the book. And Chris did not want to talk about it. Let me explain to you. Look, I even thought to myself, dude, why not talk about it? You wrote it in your fucking book. Well, because he wanted to be respectful to the families. And that doesn't mean that I'm being disrespectful to the families. As he said, I'm going to put facts out there. You guys go do the legwork. So let's do the legwork. Right. Let me share with you what's in the book. This is going to be about those, and we're going to talk about it here in a minute. Yeah. So let me share the screen. Okay, this is from the book. How come I can't add it to stage? Because I have to remove that, and I have to add that. All right. The first full paragraph you can see highlighted, talking about Dr. Turvey. Turvey seems right. None of this makes sense until one addresses other important considerations. The women on the 3rd floor both suffered what a behavioral analyst might identify as rage kill injuries. Signature wounds. Both women had their throats slit ear to ear post-mortem twice.
Yep.
Twice.
Crazy.
Each one of them had their throat slit twice after they were already dead, and each of them had a nearly identical gash on their shoulder. Then someone posed those 2 girls in a cuddle position to pose Maddie cuddled up to Kaylee. They took time. That's a Turvey's interpretation. The killer made signature gashes to their throat after they were dead, gashed them on the shoulder at the same place to send a message of some sort, and then posed them in bed. And Chris would leave it at, don't ask me why they did it. Fucking go figure it out. It means something. So we got to figure that out. That's the kind of shit that's there. And
that's what I'm believing he's doing through this whole book, you guys. Here's the seed. I'm going to plant the seed for you. Now, all you got to do is water it and feed it and prune it and feed it and water it and figure it out from that point forward. That's exactly how I see what he was doing, period.
So, Marty, Mark and Betty, I got to answer this because this came. I'm sorry, Dago, but I don't want to miss this again. They popped this up earlier. Kopaka. Kopaka is not in the book. I will tell you this. Chris and I talked about Kopaka at length. There's more to come on Kopaka later. That's all I can give you right now, but there's more on Kopaka later. So yes, I did specifically ask Chris when I was having private conversations with him, did you see anything about Kopaka? And he's like, yeah. He's going to get me some receipts, or at least point me in the direction where I can get some receipts. Kopaka stuff is coming. I don't even know what it is. He just said, yep, I got stuff on Kopaka as well. And so I don't know what it is. So we'll see.
Yeah. I do want to mention something. I know there were some people who were kind of upset with Chris's comment about, he already got paid from the publisher for the book. So, he's not worried how many copies it sells. What Chris is actually saying, as an author, I understand exactly what he's saying. When you get your your advance and your payment from the publisher, depending on your contract, sometimes you get a cut of the profits, like moving forward royalties. Sometimes you don't. It all depends on your contract. But what Chris was actually saying was he wasn't doing this for the money.
Thank you.
Okay. He wants this to sell. If he didn't, he wouldn't have put it out in the first place. But what he's saying is he's not doing interviews for money. He's not doing this to expect to get rich off of future book sales, from this particular book. So he wasn't saying he doesn't care about the material. He didn't spend 10 months to a year, whatever, researching and writing this book because he didn't care. If he didn't care, he wouldn't have put it out at all. So what he was saying was he doesn't care about the money. This isn't why he's doing it. So I want everyone to understand that from a publishing aspect is where he was coming from with that. Not that he doesn't care about the book or its intended purpose. So I just wanted to make sure.
I'm glad you said that, Robin, because I had to say that on my show today too. A lot of people got upset about that. That is not at all what he was saying.
Yeah.
All he's saying is he doesn't. I'm not doing this for money, guys. I'm doing this because the truth needs to be exposed. End of story. So thank you, Robin, for bringing that up.
Let me show you two things. I'm gonna show you something Chris says in the book about what the power of the public has versus those who are under gag order. And then I'm going to talk about the posing of the bodies. So I don't know. Somebody said we need to have a trigger warning in the show. My entire show, every fucking thing out of my mouth is a trigger warning. I'm not a kid show. You should know that. Listen, authors, Chris says, authors are not bound by gag orders or any of the Judge Hippler's erroneous rulings. Exactly. Amateur sleuths do not have to comply with the rules of criminal procedure, voir dire, or the Idaho bar, or esoteric case studies on constitutional law. All that matters here is that the evidence and sudden sequential analysis lays it out clearly. So what he's saying is we don't have the same restrictions law enforcement and prosecutors and attorneys have. Listen to what he's saying. You're getting the information. You're going to need to do the detective work. We aren't allowed to talk about it because we're under gag order, but you are not. So we're going to give you enough breadcrumbs that you can go do something about it because we can't say shit. All we can do is leak what we can leak and say what we can do. And like he said, authors, that's his first statement. Authors aren't bound by a gag order. I can say whatever the hell I want in my book because I'm not bound by a gag order. Now, again, read between the lines. Like he's giving you stuff and he's saying you can do things that law enforcement can't do. It's almost like he's saying, look, law enforcement wants you to fix the fucking problem, but we can't do it because we're under gag order. It's almost like he's saying that. I don't know that he's saying that, but it's almost like he's saying that, right?
Yep.
Let me read.
I agree with you. I agree with you fully. I do.
JJ's joined us on stage as well. By the way, I probably need to take the disclaimer off his face. How you doing, JJ?
Everybody hide your social security numbers and your personal information.
CIA, watch out.
Yeah. I'm just following up, keeping an eye on you guys.
My handler's here.
All the craziness.
Yeah.
I just wanted to check in for a little while since we had a barn burner last night. And, and at least give a little bit of commentary. I have to jump at 7:30, so I have a little bit of time.
Okay.
But great job, first and foremost. That was a banger.
Yeah, it was. It was amazing.
It stirred up a lot of shit, let me tell you.
Yes.
The dogs are barking now.
Tornado. Tornado.
It stirred up a lot of shit because I listened to the Custody Queens. I listened to Jules today, during the day. I looked at a lot of comments. I saw a lot of shit going around.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say one general thing. Besides, it was really cool and it was a great thing. Like in general, like it was a lot of people tuned in and a lot of people commented.
Yeah.
We have to wait and see, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen going forward. Right. So it's like it's easy to either go one way or the other. And I'm no different than anybody. I have strong opinions, but I think for sure we just have to see what's going to happen. Right. Because we don't know what's going to play out or how it's going to play out. We can only
Right.
sit back and wait
Right.
and do our stuff and have our commentary like everybody on here always does anyway. And not, you know, it goes in both directions. Like, I thought Chris was a extremely impressive dude. I liked him. He's a musician. It's, you know, we have something pretty major in common. So I was very engaged by him. But I'm also
deep state.
Yeah. But I'm also a skeptic. And so I can't put that aside just because I like somebody and they're impressive. So I have decided, against my, you know, typical nature, is I'm going to let things play out, and I'm going to see how things play out and give it a chance rather than try to suss it all out right away. Because,
and I think that's what we were bitching about at the beginning, is a lot of people were writing him off because they sounded like he was being too pro law enforcement, and he was swinging off the dick of, all cops did a great job. And, you know, like, those of us who've been watching this for 3 years were like, there's a lot of fuckery that we believe MPD did in this case. And so he's coming out saying MPD did a phenomenal job. And it didn't sit well with a lot of people, to be frank. It didn't sit well with a lot of people, right?
Yeah, and
but
you know,
have to listen to what he's saying between the lines.
Well, DA, I agree with that, but people are entitled to do that.
Right.
You promote a book and it's got some bombshell information in it. People have been dedicated to following this case. They're allowed to push back. That's what journalism is. That's what, you know, citizen journalism is. You can't just, you know, because someone's a really impressive person and they're very dynamic and intelligent, just automatically cut them slack. We're the ones who are supposed to hold people accountable. So that's exactly why I'm saying I'm willing to wait and see how things play out.
Now, I want to get back, because to go with the mental health thing, let me say, Michelle Rowe is saying, hey, look, well, that wasn't Michelle Rowe. I had it. See, I got tricked. I had another thing pinned up there and somebody moved it on me. So somebody was saying mental health, right? Give a trigger warning. Yeah, this entire, I will say this. Yes, this is a true crime show. And I'm going to show you a bloody image today that's been released to the public. It's out there in the thing, because we want to talk about it, because Chris talked at length about the hair. We're going to talk about Ethan's hair, and we got a crime scene photo to talk about it. So that is coming. If you don't like graphic images, it has been released to the public. I would recommend you don't watch our show, because I don't necessarily always preface. I do usually try to preface it before I show blood on the screen. But like, for some people, it may have been shocking to hear about the throat slitting and stuff like that. So this is a true crime show. We're talking about homicides. That was horrific homicides, and that has details. And so I just, as a general rule, we're a true crime show, and we're going to dig into the weeds. We're going to talk now a little bit about the posing of the bodies, and then we'll also get to the hair thing in a minute. But we were talking about Maddie. By the way, there was some arrangement of the body down in Ethan and Xana's room as well. But we're just talking about Maddie's room up here, Maddie and Kaylee. And by the way, don't forget, don't forget, Chris didn't want to talk really long about the dark hair that had been ripped out by the roots that is in the bed with Maddie and Kaylee, indicating that a woman's hair was ripped out of their head in bed with them and had root DNA at it. And remember, Molly McMichael said she saw somebody that was a female ducking down out of the window. Now, I don't know, people trust Molly McMichael as far as they can throw her, but it's something to consider. If she saw somebody with long hair up in that upper room, and there's long hair torn out by the roots in the bed, what the fuck?
Right.
We got to rethink some things.
Well, and again, sorry, I was just going to with something you said. One of the things he said on the Custody Queen show that was sent to me is a part of a clip of it. He did make, and it's in the chat now. Good. It's right there, right here. Pamela Smith said it too. On Custody Queen, he said he did feel that the police did a great job until Brian was arrested. So take all of that into effect as you listen to what he's saying. So just to bounce that out of what Lee was saying. So
right, and that would be a great point, because at the point that they at the point that they decided that Brian Koberger was the one they were going to go with, maybe things weren't so good.
Right.
Maybe things weren't so good. Let's show the body positioning and the allegation. Again, we talked about, and by the way, I will say, I'm trying to decide if this is something I can share that Chris told me. I will say, I've never killed somebody. I don't know what that's like, but I've been told.
Are you sure?
Well, maybe I'm a good actor. I don't know. The point being is that I've been told that slitting someone's throat post-mortem is different than when they're alive, kind of thing. And the positioning and the way it was done, that's not a small feat to have done what was done in the first place. So just, I'm not a forensics guy. I've just been told that something about the fact that they were cut twice post-mortem is not as easy as you think it is, for whatever it's worth. But let's talk about the posing of the bodies. Though blurred in redacted images released by police, Kaylee Gonzalez and Maddie Mogan were found lying on their backs in a full-size bed, partially covered with a beige comforter. Kaylee was lying atop Maddie's right arm, shoulder, and torso, with her left hand folded adjacent to her chin. Numerous observers have stated that Maddie was placed in a princess pose and that the two bodies appear to have been staged as if they were cuddling. That's interesting. That was, again, this is basically from Turvey's analysis, that somebody posed the bodies after the crimes were committed and took time to pose the bodies. And why is that important?
That's way more important than you think it is.
Right. Every little bit of staging the scene tells you something about the killer and the message that was being sent. Every part of taking time to arrange bodies shoots a hole in the narrative that this happened in about 4 or 5 minutes. Every bit of this takes more time.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about what Lee just said, you guys, signature, injuries, and posing, there was a complete and total message being told right here. Okay. That's what we need to grab a hold of. That's what we need to understand. What was the message? Because you don't just go into a house and kill 4 people at random and then do all of this. Okay. There was a story told here by the murderer. End of story.
This is what I want to ask you guys as a panel. This is one of the things that bothered me the most in the investigation and the Dateline NBC pieces and stuff like that came out close to trial. Early on, I say this all the time, but this book reiterated it. It is 100% Chris's basic. I can tell you, again, reading between the lines, because he's hesitant to say some things. He lets other people say it for him by quoting Brent Turvey or whatever. But the point being is that Kaylee was the fucking target. It was a rage kill. It was a rage kill against Kaylee. Nobody received wounds like Kaylee's. Hers were completely different, which tells you something about the motive for the killing. In fact, Turvey's conclusion is that Xana and Ethan only got it because they were witnesses and basically had to be taken out because Xana saw something. It kind of goes along with that Dateline piece that said Xana walked in on the commission of the crime and he chased her down and he killed her because she saw something, which leads you to the question Chris doesn't ask is, why does Dylan survive? If the killer's killing witnesses who saw him, why not also kill Dylan? Right? That's the $1 million question he won't touch with a fucking 10-foot pole. And I don't blame him. His book has no attempt to tell you who did it or why. He's just saying, look at the facts. Kaylee was rage killed. Somebody posed the bodies together. Maddie received the same exact wounds, the throat slitting and shoulder slash, meaning Kaylee's association to Maddie tells you something about the killer as well. Kaylee and Maddie were a duo in this rage killing, because even though Kaylee got the rage kill, Maddie was a sign, right? She was cut twice in the same manner, and actually 3 times in the same manner, and posed and cuddled with her, which sent a message. And if Xana and Ethan were simply killed because they saw something and they needed to kill the eyewitnesses, you have to ask, why did Dylan survive that? So,
and
$1 million question.
And Bethany as well.
We have a
I could
question
argue
about
Bethany
what a
because she was
princess pose
downstairs.
is.
That's a good question, because so I thought it was like the hands in the lap. You know, you have your kind of knees up and you have your hands kind of folded across your knees, like you're posing like a princess kind of thing. Kaylee also had her hand up by her face like this, and whether she was posed that way or not, sounds like that's how she was positioned. So I don't know exactly what the princess pose is either. I just read it verbatim from the book, and I don't want to tell you what that pose looked like. I was guessing it was that. I have not seen the unredacted photos or the autopsy photos. Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to mention about the whole posing thing and the violence being much more pronounced with Kaylee and Maddie and her having the same type of injuries, like The covering up part, I think, is almost more significant than the posing, because if they took the time to pose the bodies, then they were covered up. I asked the question, if they were not covered up right after they were killed, that somebody else covered them up, not the killer.
Right.
Because Ethan was also covered up. So the question is, and I'm going to pose it in a way that doesn't say things directly. Did somebody find the bodies at a certain point? And we all know who I'm probably referring to, and cover them. And then, for whatever the reason, this is the big question, is why wasn't Xana covered? Because we didn't hear anything about that specifically. So what I wonder is because I think you'd be inclined to assume the killer covered them up, right? That's where
that seems like the assumption, right?
Right. That's where like your mind would go. Like they were killed and then they were covered up. So, the killer must have covered them up. But I think that it's possible that they weren't covered up, that somebody who saw them after the murders covered them up, and that the significance of Xana not being covered says a lot about what happened. Now, I don't have an answer. I
have a guess.
A good way.
I have a guess.
Good way to look at it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say real fast that everything I looked up, like the princess pose thing, relates to like
hands folded like this.
Like this.
Okay.
Some weird thing with their face like this.
Like
every one of them showed me that. So if that's how she was posed, that's how you can look at it. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, and it does suggest that she probably didn't die that way, because I mean, what kind of defensive posture is this, right? That's somebody, and again, that calls to motive. It calls to you know, and again, what JJ is saying, I want to share a couple things with that. One, let's say there was a cleanup crew that cleaned up after the murders were committed. Could somebody have been like, oh, fuck, I don't need to fucking see that the whole time I'm doing this cleanup thing? Did they throw a blanket over it just so they wouldn't have to see it while they're doing the cleanup?
Right.
Was it during the commission of the crime, and after they did it, they felt remorse and I don't want to see what I just did. I feel ashamed for what I did. Was it like, I think Chris hinted at, I think it was Chris hinted in our interview about whether or not Ethan, being a naked man, a naked male, did somebody not want to see his naked private parts there, so they put a blanket over him so you wouldn't see his naked private parts? Or were they just trying to make it so that when you look down the hall and you see Ethan on the bed, you wouldn't immediately see that it was a morbid scene and you would not think that something happened yet? Although I don't buy that one, because there would have been blood all over the floor with Xana from that carnage.
Wow, you know, I'm starting to wonder, you guys. We've talked about this before. And it's been stated by more than one parent. Christy was the first one to say it right away, that she believed that the people that committed, or the person, or whatever you want to say, before Brian was ever arrested, is somebody within their circle, somebody that is close to them. There's that. And then Kara Carnodle said the same damn thing, and then some. Okay, and the covering up of this, and the posing and all this, it absolutely reminds me of somebody that knows them. Again, somebody that had access to the house, somebody that knew the house, that knows where their bedrooms are and who sleeps where, and who does what, all of that.
I'm going to share. I asked a question. I'm going to share three possible reasons. It goes to Loving It Up's question about, psychologically speaking, who's more prone to do that, a woman or a male. And I feel like that question's leading to think that we're going to say a woman's more likely to do it. But I'm going to tell you like four different psychological motives for disfiguring Kaylee in the way that it was. The obvious one is a wronged male, right? She was a lover, and so her lover spurned. She cheated on them, and he's like, "I'm going to take away, what you took from me," kind of thing, and he messes her up. Or it could be a jealous female who's like, "You think you're so pretty, I'm going to make you horribly ugly. You called me ugly once, so I'm going to make you ugly." It could be that kind of thing. It could be, and here's where it gets crazier, because I asked this question of Whitcomb, and he he had a really strange reaction when I asked him. I said, it's come out now that Maddie had an Instagram that referred to her OnlyFans account. It said, for my 18 plus content, check out my OnlyFans. Turned out that Kaylee Gonzalez supposedly also had an OnlyFans. And I asked the question, that room down on the first floor that has nothing in it but just a bed and some tossed sheets, could the girls have been doing OnlyFans content from inside the room down there in that little room that was just a bed, basically filming OnlyFans? Now, why that sounds super crazy, let me tell you something. And when I say I have firsthand experience, no, it did not happen to me. No, it did not happen to me. But I have firsthand experience with a scam. And listen to hear me out, because Chris blew this off. Women sometimes will lure a male into masturbating on camera for them, thinking that they got a girlfriend, they got her hot. Hey, can I watch you do this kind of thing? And then when you do, they use that as extortion. Hey, by the way, now that I got this video of you jerking off, how would you like your mom to see it? How would you like your dad to see it? How would you pay me some money? Somebody might be super fucking pissed off if somebody had done that to him, and it may have nothing to do with jealousy. It has more to do with rage, that how dare you extort me for money? I'm not paying you money the rest of my life to keep you from leaking this photo to my family and my friends and humiliating me. And while that sounds a little far-fetched, it's a little less far-fetched when Chris said something during my interview, and I don't know if it was a slip, and this is where I want internet sleuths to help me out. Chris said, I don't know why, but there's an extortion case tied to this from Pennsylvania. And I went, holy shit. If you want to go down the Koberger thing, could someone like Koberger from Pennsylvania have been extorted by a couple of girls on the internet doing OnlyFans account, done something that embarrassed himself, and then they extorted him for money? Remember, the cops were looking into a money angle all over the place. Why do these girls have so much money? Where do they earn their money? Could there have been an extortion angle that came out? And did somebody say, I'm going to stop this whole extortion thing right now. I'm going to go take care of it. And it wouldn't be. And again, I'm not saying Brian Koberger, just hear me out on the logic, because I couldn't even get the logic jump out. If Brian Koberger is a cloud-based forensics guy, he knows how to track IP addresses, whatever. It would have been easy for him to find out who it was that was scamming him and where the IP address came from and whatever. One could argue that if an extortion case came out of Pennsylvania, were the girls extorting somebody sexually over embarrassing photos or whatever from Pennsylvania. Now, here's the only part that I can say that ruins my whole theory so far, is that when I looked into that actual number, and I think it's in the book, I think the extortion case number is in the book or somewhere. No, I found it online. It doesn't list where it comes from. It was a late development in the case in 2025 where the FBI CAST team added something when they were looking into cell phone data on AT&T that there was an extortion case. And I couldn't find that it was tied to Pennsylvania at all. But I swear Chris said right on my interview, there's an extortion case from Pennsylvania that's weird. So if it did come from Pennsylvania, I want to know. There's an MPD report that says their boyfriend was on their way from Pennsylvania. It came from Taylor Avenue. Wow. Anyways, that was so I apologize, because that is we need another theory in this case, like we need a whole and maybe that was
too great trash. No,
don't apologize, because think about what that can cause. Okay, let me just throw something.
You're not wrong.
I'm not saying this is what happened, okay, but remember, Mr. Gonsalves made a statement once. And he goes, some people are going to get drugged through the mud, and there's going to be some stuff that people
gross things are going to come out.
Going to think is gross. Okay. Do you realize? Okay. Let's say you got a guy that works for a doctor or an attorney for that. That's a very well-known person that has a very well-known reputation that, he needs to keep protected. And he gets involved in an OnlyFans situation and does some stuff, whatever, so on and so forth. And somebody decides, you know what, I can make money off this dude, and makes the threat that if you don't pay me such and such amount of dollars, this is going to go out to all your clientele, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, all of that. Okay.
And that is extortion.
That is absolute extortion. Right. And that will throw somebody into a massive rage when they panic and freak out about, oh my God, my life is ruined. And guess what they would do? Possibly. Okay. That's all I'm saying, guys.
It's funny because sense. Have you ever seen this show called Black Mirror? It's like a Netflix kind of series that has a real dark kind of like Twilight Zone kind of thing. Anyways, Black Mirror did an episode on just this very thing. A kid who got blackmailed doing something embarrassing sexually. And the movie was, the whole episode was about all the things a person will go through to avoid their embarrassment coming out. And the kind of the message at the end was, the things that you had to do to keep it coming out were worse than just letting it come out. Like he had to do so many horrible things to try to keep his embarrassment from going public that, you know, it was worse what he did.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the gift. Thank you for the gift so much. Appreciate that. Didn't come with a question, but thank you for the gift very, very much.
And think about it, you guys. This is an angle that nobody has looked at. Nobody has touched upon. Nobody's even thought about, in my opinion. If you have, God bless you, because I never have. It would explain many things. I'm not saying that's what it is. Please don't think that, but it definitely makes you think.
Real quick, I know one you want to get into. The only reason it hasn't come up before is I didn't like one convinced me when he said it.
Yes.
There's no way Kaylee had an OnlyFans account because it would be leaked by now. And I thought the same thing. Like logic tells us if either Maddie or Kaylee had an OnlyFans, we would see that by now. But now it's coming out that is
I'm pretty shocked.
very possible that they had OnlyFans accounts. Yeah. And I guess how that's not been leaked to the public, I don't know.
Right.
I think it was kept buried on purpose. Think about that though. That was probably kept buried on purpose because that in itself very well might lead directly to a point that doesn't want to be found. Okay.
Yeah,
that would be the thing that holds it together.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that Steve is probably talking about. I mean, it could be a bunch of other stuff, but Steve, you know, his daughter was killed, and her best friend and all these other people, and here's his daughter and his daughter's best friend have OnlyFans account. Now, I'm not saying people that do OnlyFans are bad people or anything, but it has a certain thing that's brought doing.
And
that
think about this.
Stuff.
And think about this. If the police officers or the prosecutor somehow knew that the girls had OnlyFans accounts and were doing this, but felt that it was unrelated, they would not want that to get in the public because there's no reason to shame these people, right? First of all, this is one of the things that we do. We like to elevate the victims as being some perfect people that didn't have it coming, right? And so you don't want to have anything that suggests that they weren't. So if I could see how they'd be like, look, this OnlyFans thing is going to look embarrassing to the family. It's going to just make the victim look less sympathetic because now she's doing sketchy sexual shit. There's no reason for it to come out in the public because it's irrelevant. Or is it? Because is it a motive for murder if somebody was being extorted because of some embarrassing sexual thing that they did or whatever on camera? That extortion would be all kinds of motivation for murder and rage murder. But I'm not saying that's what happened. But.
There's another angle that somebody could have been trying to extort the girls.
Yes,
definitely. The other way around.
Right.
Like
for sure.
That they had. Look, first of all, I want to piggyback on what one said. What happens, when unfortunate, horrific things happen like this, it's normal for people to sort of whitewash things, right? Because you don't want to say anything that might be taken as like you're criticizing the victims. But these are college kids. College kids do drugs. They have sex. They cheat on their other, it's the shit what you do when you're young. You're crazy. You're young. You're in your 20s. So right out of the gate, you can't whitewash things because then you're possibly overlooking important things if all of a sudden you don't want to talk about certain aspects. Now, in the book, it talks about Bethany addressing the things with pictures of their feet. And she said, there might have been stuff like that going on, but I wasn't involved in any of that. Now, that's in the reports, right? Now, there could have been more than that happening. And there could have been somebody, if there was an extortion angle, that was trying to extort the girls. There could have been, it could have been the opposite, where they were like, oh, you guys are up to this or that or the other. Now, I don't know how that could connect to Coburger or Pennsylvania.
But you're right. I mean, somebody, to do the reverse extortion, the girls could have been doing this, and somebody could have said, boy, wouldn't you be ashamed if your mom and dad saw what you do for money at college? And so it could have been sorted them for that. But again, the money the trail seemed to be tracking why the girls had a whole bunch of money that they shouldn't have had, or specifically why Kaylee had a bunch of money. And that's the thing. Kaylee was the one that they were following the money on. If you look at the records, Kaylee is the one that they were all up her ass about, pardon my French, about her financial thing. Why does Kaylee have so many bank accounts? Where does Kaylee getting this money? Right. Who in the university makes what dollar amounts? It was all tied to Kaylee. Why are they not interested in everybody else in the house anymore?
And I heard
why?
And that
because
was
Kaylee was disfigured in a horrible rage killing, which might have to do with money and extortion.
And that was a big thing early on, because there's like a bank right near the hotel in town, not far from the food truck. It was a whole thread on that.
Across the street from the hotel. Yeah.
Right. There was a whole bunch of stuff on that, because we never really got much of the info on it. But what do banks have? They have all kinds of cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
So
right.
Like, think about it, a lot of stuff makes sense now, right? And the inventory of Kaylee's stuff, she had a credit card reader. It's in there.
Yeah. She did.
Credit card reader, yeah. So you're taking transactions, right? Why are you taking transactions?
And that could also play back to the whole, oh my God, Maddie, what did you say to Adam? I told Adam everything. If there was something going on for a period of time, like these people are doing this or doing that, and it all could fit together, guys. It really, truly could, if you think about it.
Yeah. And
I hope people
I was just going to say, it could, and, they could have been doing whatever OnlyFans thing or whatever, something to, being that it's in the book, right? And, so we're talking about it. Could it be that somehow, they wanted to, maybe someone wanted to make more money and they pushed it a little further? I know,
be fair.
Like JJ
I want to be fair what you said, 1-1, because he didn't really cover the OnlyFans in the book much. When I pressed him about it, he even said, "I didn't say they had an OnlyFans. I said in the book I mentioned somebody said it. Like he wasn't saying they had OnlyFans."
Right.
He doesn't want to come off disrespectful to the families, and I understand. I get it.
But could it be that they started off with a small little OnlyFans thing, and then it got more and more? I mean, you hear from the interviews from people, it said that Kaylee kept going home with different people from the bars, and I'm not saying that's what happened, but I could see it spiraling. I can make more money if I do this. I could see.
What was that other sugar baby thing got brought into it too? At one point, if you remember that too. So
it feels like oh, sorry, Robin.
I was just going to say, I want to say something because I saw some comments in the chat about feeling like maybe we're trying to shame these girls if they did have an OnlyFans. No, we're not. Well, because let me speak to this a second. Okay. There is nothing, in my opinion, there is nothing wrong with doing that. If you want to make money that way, fine and dandy. There's nothing wrong with that. But keep in mind, that does put you, if we're talking victimology, okay, and that's what we're doing here. We're having a true crime discussion. This is about victimology. And as we all know, people who do that or sex workers, or whatever you want to call them, they are at an increased risk. They are. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman.
Yeah.
In the profession.
And that's why.
So we are not shaming. We're talking victimology here. But families, there is still a stigma attached, and families do not want those kinds of details spread around the internet and the world. So, but like I said,
and this is what bothers me is we're adults, and this is what bothers me. This idea that we can shut down a line of inquiry because it's shaming the victims.
No,
that's ridiculous. You can't shut down lines of inquiry because you aren't comfortable with it. If it's motive for murder, it's motive for murder.
Right. You have to look at from some of the witnesses. What did they say? Like everyone's assuming. Again, I'm not shaming her, but think about it. If you were doing some kind of OnlyFans thing, or you doing some kind of escort thing, right? So everyone is always assuming, just to pull on the thread, like, oh, Kaylee was looking at sexual offenders in the area because someone may have been stalking her. Why does it have to be because only someone was stalking her? Maybe she wants to know sexual offenders in the area because of what she's doing with OnlyFans or escorting, and she wants to know because if she's going to go to the local bar or whatever, she wants to know what's going on, like who she should look out for.
I can feel the internet squirming right now when you say these things, but you're absolutely right,
well,
because
you have to go on the thread, right,
because it makes sense. If you're going to engage in risky behavior, you might want to know who the sexual predators are in your neighborhood so you can avoid the sexual predators. And real quick about this comment that, from Gianna Teddy about your credit card readers. If a credit card company finds out that you're engaging in OnlyFans material and selling sex or nudity or whatever, a lot of credit card companies will not allow you to do that. They'll immediately pull you or shut your account down for using their credit card in that way, kind of thing. So is it possible? Again, it's threads you have to ask. And if we can rule them out, you just rule them out. And I realize, like I said, this kind of think tank stuff that we're doing on the fly right here is probably very, very uncomfortable for some people. We're not doing it for the jock.
No,
right.
We're doing it because it's new information that's come out. It was a shock to me. It was a shock to one. It was a shock to several of us to hear that OnlyFans accounts was actually a thing. Like, how is that a thing?
Yep.
Like, how did we not know?
Right.
We just assumed it couldn't have been a thing because it would have come out by now. But now it's coming out, and you're like, how did we not think that was possible?
How many times did we say on here? Just Lee said it before. I did say it, and I doubled down on it. I'm shocked that they had OnlyFans and that nothing with. I say that because with just how cruel and how crazy people are. I mean, look at like the Charlie Kirk stuff or anything, like stuff is like all over the place. So I'm shocked that we didn't get one photo. Well, not recently. I
did get some photographs sent to me early on in the case, and I never had any problems believing in it, but there's no shame in it either. So, I even said that 3 years ago, like, if this is what they were doing, good for you. Because if I had the ability when I was 20 years old to do this, to make extra money to supplement my life in college, I'd have been all over some shit like that. So there's no shame in it. None.
I'm going to push back. I'm going to push back on Shell Herbs. Y'all think this is putting on a new crazy theory when in fact it's the oldest jump conclusion of the book. Have you read the book? Because it's not in the book. That's not in the book.
It's not in the book.
How do you tell me that it's the oldest theory in his book? It's not in the book. I don't think you read the book.
I don't think he means in that book. I don't think he means that book.
Rhetorically, the oldest trick in the book.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yes.
I got all spun up about it. So I
That's
don't think
what
it's
I
the
thought.
Oldest trick in I don't think it's the oldest trick in the book. I've never heard anybody even talk about it. So if you're thinking that everybody's already thought this theory, I've never heard anybody in the 3 years I've been investigating this talk about the OnlyFans connection on that. But anyways,
I did
the extortion. The
extortion.
Never been. The extortion's never come out anywhere. I promise you that.
No.
The OnlyFans has. Yes. Yeah.
I talked about the OnlyFans very, very minimal because again, I didn't want any kind of any shame to come to the families or anything like that. It was a very light thing, but there was also there. Shut up, Lucy. There was also
simmer down.
Anyway, there was also
got my panties in a wad.
Sugar daddy thing and all that stuff that was out in the beginning. So yes, I mean it was definitely something that was brought up in the beginning, but people avoided it because again, everybody felt bad. Nobody wanted to say anything, but it's fact, folks. So yeah, but the extortion's brand new. Nobody ever talked about extortion on this. I don't care who you are.
No.
Don't tell me you did because I was all over the place and I've never heard that before. So
I almost feel terrified to bring my wife into this now, but she's been quiet for like 45 minutes and I see her engaging in fights in the chat and all kinds of shit. What's going on, Rhonda, in the chat?
I'm just watching her face. It's hilarious.
I'm just talking to people. Are you really? I'm just talking to people in the chat and listening.
Yeah, I keep seeing your name pop up, and I'm like, I don't know what my wife's getting into in the chat, but apparently she's being dragged into all kinds of shit.
We're all good.
All right.
Well, one of the things for me to wrap up the OnlyFans thing. OnlyFans is not a big deal. It's very common.
No.
I'm not saying I agree with it or disagree with it, but I 100% agree with Robin. And all right, I did a research project for my university about internet predators. Like I presented at a professional conference. So for months, I had to go through all the data on internet predators and all the type of things and the top research on it, especially dealing with kids. And whenever you have a big online presence, you are being exposed to a lot of people. And there are certain types of people that will look to those types of things, right? And find potential victims. That's no groundbreaking idea. I mean, I did this project like almost 20
Long
years
Island
ago.
serial killer.
Yeah, it's like a breeding ground for this stuff.
Yeah.
So, JJ, I'm just curious. I know when you did that project, did you bring up anything with Backpage? Remember the whole thing with?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Backpage.
Well,
Backpage.
This was specific to connections that were made in like chat rooms and on social media, and this is quite a while ago. But you know, Facebook was a thing back then.
Right.
The chat rooms, you know, a million different chat rooms that younger people use, and the reality is, like, when I comment on this, it's not about, oh my God, that's so scandalous, they had OnlyFans. No, it's just that when you are in that kind of exposed situation in a social media, whatever you call that platform, you are putting yourself at higher risk. It's just it's basic logic.
Right.
So it does bring into question that narrative, because let's be honest, man, there's some people out there that are predators, and they find victims typically the least path of resistance, where they can have access to people and try to find out where they are, where they go, and things like that. So
yeah, exactly. Sometimes they can't get enough. They want more and more and more. Right.
And
I
Gianna asked a question real quick. I'm sorry. It says, wait, does anybody remember why Kaylee had to change her majors? It had something to do with she wasn't able to do her she was going to school. Her major was teaching. It was teaching, right? And something to do with I don't know if you know, Rhonda, but I think it was like she couldn't do her, like, she couldn't teach anywhere, like it's not practice teaching, but like when I was going like for EMS and stuff, we would go to like the emergency room and we would run with the ambulances and stuff like that to learn. It's kind of like
being like a para student teaching, or it's called a para.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it had something to do with she wasn't able to do that or something. I don't know if it had to do with her getting in trouble for something or what it was. Student teaching, I guess.
Time management too.
Okay, yeah, it could have been part of it, yeah. But I remember somebody telling me, though, she had to change her major because she wasn't able to. I don't know if it was able or wasn't allowed to do the whole student teaching thing. So I'm gonna have to go back and look into that, because that was a good question. Anyway, I'm sorry if you were going to talk, Lee.
I want to focus on the show's theme a little bit here before we miss the opportunity, on things that Chris didn't say that upset people a little bit. One was a direct question he dodged, and maybe this is only me that had this question, which was about the stomach contents of Xana. I asked that you saw autopsy reports and stuff like that. Did they tell you about stomach contents? Did they confirm that she ate the food that they said she delivered? It seemed like Chris was kind of given the narrative of there's no question that she ordered the food, right? It's got a timestamp. The food's there. You see the food on the floor. And then he answered, yes, I have seen about the stomach contents, but I won't talk about it.
He was kind of snarky about that, Lee.
What?
I thought he was kind of snarky about that.
Yeah, he said he can't.
He was.
You know, he was
like a little bit
kind of snarky about that.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because he thought it was an obvious question that everybody should know, and I'm an idiot for asking the question, or whether it was something he just didn't want to get into. I don't know.
Well, he did say something to the effect of, so he wasn't going to answer it directly, but there was something to the effect of, but how was she going to eat on the run while being chased by a killer?
Right.
So that
like,
leads me to believe that there was no food in her stomach, or at least the food that had been ordered.
He was pretty deliberate to say there was food on the counter. It looked like it had been eaten, but yeah. So like it was a weird moment in the interview. I thought,
and all over her room.
Yeah, and he made reference to the
food was all over her room.
Yeah, he made reference to the DoorDash bag as well.
And I took that as he couldn't talk about it the way he said it. Like, I can't speak on that. So that's how I took it.
Yeah.
Well, also the thing that I tried to address, and you tell me what you guys think, and I want clarification. What I took for him when I was addressing them being covered up, and then he said, what I thought he was saying was they were attacked while they were under the covers. And but the thing is, we saw those reflection pictures, and based on the amount of damage that was done, the brutality of it, I didn't see nothing noticeable blood on that top blanket.
No, I didn't either. Yeah.
So, and he kind of shut that down when I mentioned it. He's like, well, and then he switched to Ethan. Well, Ethan pulled it, he didn't pull that blanket up himself. And I was clearly talking about Kaylee and Maddie and the significance of them being covered after. And he made it sound like they were covered when they were attacked.
And there were no stab marks through the blankets or the comforters either. So, like,
no,
I was really confused on that, as though, like, but I didn't want to be disrespectful, but I really wanted to say, can you explain that more because it didn't make sense. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to push it because a lot of people had questions, and I was just going to listen and let other people ask questions. But he did shift that pretty quick, and he shifted it to Ethan, which I clearly wasn't talking about Ethan.
Right.
And I was trying to get him to answer about the Kaylee's blood found on the table, and then Dago asked a follow-up question. Like, he really didn't answer it.
He kind of went around that, and a lot of people were flipping out about that because he was saying in the book says, through this whole thing, guys, okay, and this is where I'm a little bit confused. I think it needs talked about, and it's not something he did talk about, okay? So it's fixed in with this. From our understanding, Kaylee's blood, and most every creator has talked about this as though Kaylee's blood is all over that downstairs. And there again, he did talk about the fact that the living room area was covered in blood. Go ahead, Robin.
Well, I would just want to say, shout out to the Custody Queens and Ron and Outcast, by the way. I did stop by their live earlier and say howdy and show some love. But he did say on there today, and hello to you, Chris, that what he thought is that the killer, that Kaylee was unfortunately trapped and killed upstairs, but that blood was transferred by the killer down the stairs and touched around, and what we've that's been a major, thing that many of us have thought happened. That's basically what he said on their show today.
But the big problem with it that I have, that's why I'd love to kind of push him a little more and say it's because he's so big about the experts, about Sutton, and Turvey. It's from Sutton's report. The only thing Sutton said that blood that made Kaylee's blood mark on the table was from an attack. She wrote the thing in her initial report, which we didn't get to see. We only got to see the response. But the only thing, when she made her follow-up rebuttal or whatever the hell you call it, answer, is that she removed that part, saying that it was from an attack because I'm guessing, she's a witness for the prosecution, and when she realized that it was a mistake, that it wasn't Xana's blood, it was actually Kaylee's blood. Now all of a sudden it's not from an attack.
And
but Sutton she already made her initial, conclusion that it was from an attack.
And then those documents were, I said the word yesterday, I can't think right now, but they changed the documents, okay? They were oh shit. Anyway, you know what I mean. So And that's why I brought that back up to him, because I know when you asked your question, it came out. I know what you were saying, but it wasn't 100% what we were trying to get out of him. And
I know.
On it, and all due respect to him, I'm not saying he did anything wrong, but he kind of talked around it. He didn't really answer the question. He just said, "Yeah, they were two of these her documents that were changed and
right.
amended.
And the only reason
they were amended. Thank you.
Right.
Damn.
And that's the reason why. Right. Then the reason I brought it up was because you know, saying that Kaylee was killed in the bedroom with Maddie, whatever, and that probably did happen, but you know, we had this evidence now that there was some kind of an attack or there was something that happened on that second floor, and he also keeps talking about how the second floor seems to have, you know, the diluted blood, which he doesn't say. Make our own, you know, determination that probably a cleanup happened, right?
And he's also pointing to, and I'm still curious about this, trying to understand what he's meaning, but that second floor common room is massive to him. He talked about it so much yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely obsessed about the common room. Yeah.
The blood that was diluted and undiluted, like Ethan's undiluted blood that was at the top of the stairs and all of that. So.
In fact, Dago, when I was watching Chris on the Custody Queens today, I think it was Outcast who was on with them, asked him the question, what's the biggest thing in your book you think that's the biggest thing that the public doesn't understand? And he said, it's the ping pong table.
Yeah.
If there's anything that people need to catch, it's the ping pong table. I thought that was interesting that he, out of all the things, we think the hair is more sensational. The ripped out hair of a blonde hair on the one floor and dark hair on the other by the roots not being tested. That's huge. But he's like, it's the ping pong table.
And that's the beer pong. Go ahead, Rhonda. I'm sorry.
Beer pong table. Yeah.
I was just going to say, he thought it was significant enough. He went and bought his own.
Right. To do the testing. Right.
Yeah. And did it.
I want to show. I know JJ's chomping at the bit. I did want to show an image that informs.
I gotta go.
Go ahead first. Okay,
I gotta go. That's why I was trying to get your attention, because I gotta jump.
Okay. All right. Thanks for coming.
Okay,
Thanks
take
for
care.
coming.
See you later, JJ.
I wanted to add something before I leave. He kept saying how there was no drops of blood on the floor. He made a point of really focusing on that.
The
it's pretty obvious why.
On the floor.
Clean up.
It's not because there was no blood on the floor. The floor is easier to clean than a porous wall surface. So with that, I'm out. I'll be listening and I'll be in the chat. Everybody have a great
take it
day.
easy, JJ. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, that was a huge point that he showed on our show and a huge point that he said with the Custody Queens. Isn't it interesting that there's absolutely no diluted blood in either of the bedrooms? The only place you see diluted blood is in the common area where somebody cleaned up. So whoever was cleaning up didn't take any time cleaning up either of the murder scenes. They only cleaned up the cross transfer areas where blood was transferring from one. And it asks you, then the question again, it tells you motive of the cleanup. Why is someone trying to hide what happened in the common area or the blood transfer from one room to the other? That tells you a lot. I want to show a picture on screen real quick because we were talking about it. This is a photo of Maddie that was supposedly taken at 2-something in the morning of the night of the murders. She's got an eye open. If you look close enough, her eyes open.
Maddie.
Not Matt. Dylan. Sorry, Dylan. I meant Dylan. Yeah, Dylan. Okay. Sorry. And so he said, if you look close, and I didn't do this. He said, if you look closely at this photo, and there's no timestamp on this photo that I got. No. But apparently it was at 2-something in the morning, and he thinks that Dylan's actually awake because her eyes slightly open, so she may be possibly awake. And I think it was.
Why?
I think it was taken by Lakeland. But anyways, he said if you look closely at the beer pong table at the back, and you count boards, for example, from the wall where it's at, you will see in the other crime scene photos that the beer pong table has been moved. So that's the position where the beer pong table was. And he says, if you look closely, you can do measurements and see that the beer pong table where it's in the crime scene photos has been moved from this location. It was knocked over. He's thinking, it sounds like he implies that it was knocked over and reset back up. And again, that takes time. You're going to kill people you're going to kill 4 people on 2 floors in about 4 minutes, pose bodies, knock over a beer pong table, set it up and arrange the cups back on it. Like, how much time do you think you have to do that murder? You know, so it's an interesting thing to think about. Do you have the other one that Lakeland took in the bathroom of the clothes? I don't have it handy, unfortunately. I don't have that handy. I did want to focus a little bit on the hair while we have some time left, because and so this is going to be graphic imagery from the crime scene photo. I want to bring this up because get this, what level of guilt or like this is awesome. I had a comment, you freaking morons. The hair in Ethan's hand on the floor is Murphy's hair because he pet his dog, you idiot. And I'm like, okay, let's first of all, Chris flat out said it's human hair. It's human hair. But this, if you need to sleep better at night, okay, he pet his dog. But I'm going to show you the image because Chris was great. I didn't want to shame him by showing his name on the because I was like,
you're the moron. You're the idiot. Yeah. Don't even get me started.
Anyways, a graphic image. I'm going to put a graphic image on screen before we leave tonight. It's for the discussion. We had a lengthy discussion. I felt one of the most shocking moments of the book happened in a few pages where he talks about the hair that got ripped out of somebody's head, which suggests he again does not want. Chris really, really doesn't want to tell you how the hair got in Ethan's hand. He's like, am I telling you that he ripped the hair out of his attack? I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying, why don't we know the answer to that? That was how he responded. Why don't we know the answer to why Ethan has a clump of hair in his fist, even at autopsy? So I'm going to bring this graphic image on screen, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. So let me get this up for you.
Oh my gosh.
Do you like the dog one?
Dude, I can't with some of these people. I swear to God. Yeah. 6 to 8 inches long and dark blonde hair. Yeah, that sounds like dog hair to me. What the actual hell?
Yeah, and Murphy wasn't Ethan's dog anyway. So.
No, he wasn't.
We're gonna zoom into this crime scene photo to try to put together this isn't Murphy's hair bit thing. So what is circled here, I think one of our users put this together for me, I think. You'll see the bed here has been moved away from the wall. Ethan, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong. If I understand it, Chris described in detail the position that Ethan was in when he kind of went into a fetal position, and took defensive wounds and then rolled over, ostensibly taking someone's hair and ripping it off his attacker's hair off with him. His fist, as Chris described it, was in the position of a relaxed, clenched fist. Yeah. So on death, his fist would relax a little bit. So it wasn't completely clenched, but it was in the shape as if he had ripped out someone's hair. Exactly. Here you see in the crime scene photo a big clump of long hair stuck in a pool of blood right here. This is what I think he's talking about. That's human hair that's blonde in color and 6 to 8 inches in length. I think that's what he's talking about. In addition, here's the slat. He said, if you count the slats, Ethan's hand was laying on a slat and you can still see the hair stuck to the bed frame of the thing. That's what he was talking about in it as well. In addition, Ethan at autopsy had hair still in his hand after they bagged his hands. So there's hair in Ethan's hand. There's hair stuck to the bed frame. There's hair stuck to the wall over here. Murphy sheds fucking like a motherfucker. I'll tell you that much. But anyways, that, in my opinion, is somebody ripping the hair off of the attacker, and it's not Brian Kohberger's. And Chris said that. It's not Brian Kohberger's hair.
It was tested against Brian Kohberger's. So for any moron that believes it's dog hair, they tested it against a human being and said, no, it's not dog. Oh, my God. I don't even know what to say. This is as bad as the fog lights for me. I'm going to be quiet.
Clip on fog lights. Clip on fog lights. So, anyways, again, it's funny. It's funny and it's not funny. I guess I almost think that I understand what Chris was doing, and I'm talking a lot for thinking about through Chris's motivation. I do too. But he's reluctant to he doesn't want to talk about graphic crime scene photos. So he doesn't want to get into the bloody pictures of the hair and have us talk about it. He doesn't want us to talk in graphic detail about how the girls' throats were slit, but it's in his book. So what he was wanting to do is steer the conversation to other parts because this is the sensational shock stuff. Yeah. And I get it. Yeah. If I were him, I would want to shy away from the sensational shock stuff as well. But to be fair, he put it in the first like 3 pages of his book or whatever, because he knew it had a massive punch. So I think this is a little bit of diplomacy, and I'm not busting Chris's nuts on it. I understand why he did it, in my opinion. It has to be in the book. It has to be a major part of the discussion. Does he want to go on every live show and have them pull up the graphic bloody images and talk about it with him? No. So I get why he kind of says, you know, why'd you pick that? Let's go to something else. There's a lot bigger things. But this is an enormous thing. That hair situation is enormous. In addition to the dark hair ripped out by the roots up in the upper bedroom, which is not Maddie and Kaylee's hair. That's enormous. How do you think that got there? People, come on. Right. It didn't happen earlier in the night and they got in a cat fight and brought some hair back and left it in bed with it. Like, use logic. That happened during the commission of the crime, and it means that somebody had to have been there with Kohberger at a minimum, and I don't think there's anything that puts Kohberger in that house, is where I'm going. And I'm spent. The crowd went silent on me.
Would we all like to know if Nicholas Mowich guy found wandering in Lewiston 3 days later who died, what his autopsy showed, i.e. had missing patches on his scalp? That is interesting.
Yeah, because I think he might have had longer hair. He might have had hair that was of the length that was found in the bed upstairs.
Very possible.
And again, I don't know that anybody definitively said it was female hair. It might have been presumed female because of the length of the hair, but I don't know that it was definitively female. A lot of guys have long hair, so it could have been a guy with long hair. Yeah. I think he had Native American descent. Maybe he had, like, I don't know how he wore his hair, but
yeah.
Was the hair DNA tested against the roommates? Listen, here's what Chris said in the book. And I pushed back a little bit on him. He said the hair was tested for type, meaning whether it was human hair or not, and color, was it? Or something like that. It was not tested for DNA. So they didn't test it against a particular person, from what I understand. And they listed it as debris. Now, what I pushed back on him, as I said, look, they wanted Kohberger tied to that crime scene any way possible. So there's no way they didn't test the hair to see if it matched Kohberger. And what they're not telling you, I'm betting, is they tested it. It didn't come up to be him, and so they listed it as debris and not relevant.
And
exactly. That's exactly what they did, because it didn't match their narrative. The narrative, right?
Because if it would have been Brian's hair, they would have put it black and white in front of the whole world to say.
Oh, it would have been all over
Brian Kohberger hair.
His DNA is all over the house. His hair, there's skin. No, what they got is a piece of DNA evidence that's so small you can't see it, and is too small to go into CODIS and all these other things. That's what they got on him. They would have died to have a clump of hair of Kohberger at the scene, but they didn't. So they just listed it as debris.
Instead, they should have handcuffed Murphy and took him, I guess, because it's his fucking hair.
I guess it's Murphy. Yeah. Murphy. I think we need to play out with Murphy. We need to play out with Murphy, I think.
There's the crime cat. Wow.
For those who don't know, our show likes to put together some music. We've got some really cool, talented people that do AI music and write the lyrics and stuff like that. And we've got a song because we got a lot of new viewers and a lot of new people subscribed in the last day because of the big interview with Chris. I thought I'd share with you as we play out. We're not going to play out immediately right now. We'll say goodnight and do some wrap up. But if you haven't seen the Murphy song, stay in for a treat. We got a cute little music thing about Murphy, who's the key to this crime. And so we say that kind of tongue in cheek, but it's a very cute little video.
Well, with you saying that though, he pointed that out last night too. For those of you that didn't catch it, he said more than once that Murphy is very instrumental in this, folks, and pay attention to that. So if you think about that, that was part of what I covered today, and I think that's partly what he could have been saying. You know, as you heard people saying, Alicia, I think it was brought it up, said, you know, there was a looped dog bark in the background that kept changing, and it sounded the same repeatedly again and again, and then there was another dog that came out of nowhere.
Sausage Biscuits, I almost guarantee you it's not the same hair in Maddie and Kaylee's bed. As Chris would have said that if there was a case. The hair downstairs is blonde, the hair upstairs is dark brown or a very dark color. It's different hair. Yeah. He all but said it's different hair. It's described completely differently, and I believe he thinks it's different. In fact, I think I pushed him at one point. That suggests different killers in the different rooms. And yes, everything. Look, Turvey said the method in which the girls were killed upstairs is different than the method in which the people were killed downstairs. It was different killers. It was not the same group of killers. So it's not the same person in both places.
And I think Dr. Turvey, just as much as Chris said that Murphy is very instrumental in this, I think Dr. Turvey is. I think Dr. Turvey, I don't know why I can't say it. Dr. Turvey is pointing out things that should be seen by the whole world, folks, in many different ways. And I truly do honestly believe he knows. I mean, and he knows what he's saying. So
I mean, listen to one of the big conclusions that he said that we've talked about on this show many times, and Chris has spoke about it as well. I think in the interview with Lee, or I don't know if it came up like after the show, but it was definitely somewhere in the interview. Turvey gave his conclusion that, with all the experience he had, now you see Maddie and Kaylee's room. I mean, you see Maddie's room and Ethan's room, and you see all this blood, all this evidence everywhere, all this stuff, crazy blood everywhere, right? All over. Not one little speck of DNA in BK's car, in his apartment, nothing.
Not
nothing.
Possible.
Zero.
Not
right.
possible.
They tore that car apart.
It's not possible. I'm telling you, I don't give a shit who says what about a damn kill kit or this or there's no way in hell that 4 people were murdered, especially looking at Xana's room after the fact, and they went and left that house without taking that even a speck of DNA. They took Brian's car down to the frame, folks. They pulled the turn signal, the steering column apart, and everything. And there's not one speck in that car. There's no way. I'll never believe that, ever.
Yeah.
Real quick, as we get ready to wrap up, I want to encourage people to please stay for the song. You're going to enjoy it. We do a wrap up, and sometimes people hear us wrapping up when they start signing out, going to look for the next thing. I understand that, but if you haven't seen the Murphy song, you will really enjoy it. I want to say another thing. We didn't cover this. One of the things I wished would have been brought up is the timeline that some people did see it released, where a woman is texting Ethan a couple times during the night saying you're getting cheated on. It happened earlier in the night, and it happened just to Erica. And so it's interesting that we haven't spent any time talking about that. Perhaps we'll save that for another night. There's all kinds of things that we haven't even touched on in the book. Again, I tell you this, for those of you who got disturbed because Chris wanted to say, this is the part that really made people upset. Chris was pretty pro law enforcement, said they did a great job, and a lot of people in this community don't believe law enforcement did a good job. Understand his position and understand that I feel that there are even people in law enforcement who are just tied from saying anything, and they know there's fuckery going on, but they have to be careful what they say. So don't always fucking judge a book by its cover, no pun intended. Second of all, Chris is a smart guy. He's being very careful about what he can and he can't say. Give him the benefit of the doubt. And if you think that is a hit piece, it's not. It opens more questions and gives us more things to look at than we've had in a long, long time. Buy a copy of the book. You need to do that. Get a book, get a MNF book. All right, let's do Around the Horn, saying good nights. But again, stay tuned for the Murphy song. We're going to play it out. If you haven't seen it, it's great. If you have seen it, you're going to stay because you liked it. It's funny as shit. All right. Dago, what do you got for closing thoughts for the night?
Well, thank you guys again for being here. Another great conversation. Just one of probably thousands to come. At this point forward, we're going to be talking day after day after day, whether here at Crimes After Dark, whether at Devil's Advocate's channel during the day when he does his stuff, or at my channel and many other, about everything that we've been dealing with for the past 48 hours, okay? And learning and finding out. And again, as Lee said, I am beyond grateful, and I can't even express it, at the tool that we've been given and the resource that we've been given to go forward with what we've been doing for 3+ years, that we're going to continue to do from this point forward. So we'll be talking about this and many, many, many other things in relation to this. And again, you probably can't hear me, but Chris, I want to thank you again for writing this book and giving us the opportunity to go forward in what we do day after day. Again, I can't express my gratitude towards this at all. And I want to thank again Lee and Robin, Miss Rhonda, 11, and JJ for for being here tonight and allowing me the honor of joining them to have this conversation. Thank you to all the moderators. You guys are amazing. Love to all of you, both sides. And thank you to all of you beautiful people. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for joining us. Again, without any of you, we would not exist. So God bless, guys. Please don't forget to love yourselves, love each other, and don't change nothing, because you truly are the beautiful people. See you soon.
And for those who don't know, because there's new people who are watching the show tonight, Dago is True Crime Cafe on YouTube. So check out his YouTube channel if you haven't got that. If you can post a link for him, please do post a link to the channel as well. Let's all try to speed up our close tonight. I'm not saying it just to you. I'm saying it to all of us, because we're dropping people, and I really want to have a chance to see the movie song.
Sure.
Yeah. Maybe no movie trivia. I don't know. Let's just get it. Let's get out.
Okay. No movie trivia?
I don't know. We're losing people, and I want them to have a chance to see the video.
Okay, yeah,
like,
that's fine.
You guys are wrapping
we can
up.
skip it. No, we'll skip it. Great show as always. Everyone, make sure you join. Amazing content. The interview was great last night. Great discussion. Chris, I salute you. Thank you, for what you do. Your fellow law enforcement. So I have kind of a bond. A certain bond with you. I appreciate all the time that you gave us, and just to double down again, for those of you who weren't here in the beginning, Chris is laying out stuff, and it's kind of for us to bring it to the forefront and to question. He's giving us the some of the tools, and then we have to run with it. So he's not giving us a full theory like, oh, I think Jack D did it. I think Dylan did it. I think this person did it.
Right.
He's giving us evidence, and he's seen stuff that we have not seen. And what I can say to that is there's a reason why he's giving it. So he may come on here and he may do a million interviews, and he may tell you, he may say he doesn't have a theory. He doesn't have this and that. Just have in the back of your mind, why did he write the book? I guarantee you it's not just about making money. It's not about making money. So there's a reason why he wrote the book. So I think you could figure it out.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. All right. And Rhonda, you've been so silent all night. Haven't said anything. Do you want to say anything?
In chat and texting. Thanks to everybody for coming. It was a great discussion, and I hope that the release of this book makes something happen for Bryan Kohberger, because he doesn't deserve to be where he's at.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And Robin, your closing thoughts? You're muted, I think.
Muted. Can't hear you.
There we go. Sorry. I want to thank everyone for coming out last night and making our event as special as it was for Chris and for ourselves, of course. And thank you for coming out again this evening. It was wonderful seeing everyone in the chat. And please subscribe to the channel. There's all kinds of awesome content that's going to be coming your way as a result of this book. So you're not going to want to miss it. And I hope everyone has a wonderful evening.
All right. I know some of you at the top of the hour might be switching to other stations, so I'm just going to, without further ado, I'm going to add this. And if I can, oh man, come on. What are we going to do? I got to add it here. Here we go. We'll play us out with the Murphy song for those who can stick around for a minute.
Some bacon rind before you know it, he's gone. He's so streamlined. Murphy, he's a magic a magical teleporting dog. It's Murphy. He's a cute and curly golden demigod. You're such a good dog. Good dog, good dog, good dog, good dog. You're such a good dog. Good dog, good dog, good dog.
Night, everybody. Have a good one. See you next time.
Good night.
All right.